I'm back finally. I know it's been a month, but it's been a pretty busy month. The last part of March and early April are my busy season at work. And so it's taken me a little bit to get back to recording a video, but I'm so happy to be back. And I've got some updates on a lot of my projects that I've been working on. But before we get going, looking at all of those projects that I've been working on and some of the things that I have acquired, which honestly I haven't acquired much. I've been pretty good on the buying front. Um, Let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm Samantha, and I live in the greater Houston area. I live northwest of Houston, headed out towards the Waller area, and I am a full-time teacher. I teach high school US history, and I also teach part-time adjunct as a college professor. And I also knit, crochet, cross stitch, sew, pretty much anything kind of crafty I get into. Just recently got into spinning some yarn as well. So haven't really done much on that. So I don't have anything to update on the spinning front, but I feel it coming back. So I might be trying that pretty soon. So let's talk about some of the things that I have been working on. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is my finished object. So I have talked about this before. My local yarn store, Craftique Studios in Cypress, Texas, has been doing a knit along for the last 6 weeks. And today was the final day of the knit along, and we had a showcase in person. I actually just got home from our knitting afternoon that we do on Saturdays called Brews and Knits. And today was the day for us to make sure that we had our product done. And so you got a choice between two different patterns for knitting. You could do the Sailor Swift top. And if you were doing crochet, then you could do the white shell tank top. I did the knit version. I had dreams of grandeur that I was going to do the crochet version as well, but that just didn't happen. I do have the pattern. I might still do it in the future, but I was fine with doing the Sailor Swift top. And so here is my finished product. This is the Sailor Swift top by Veronika Lindberg. Kutova Kika, I think, is her company name. And this was done out of Santa's Garn Petit or Mandarin Petit, which is a 100% cotton yarn. I did it in black and khaki. And, I'm going to be real honest when it comes to the yarn. Like, I like the feel of the yarn. The feel is nice. I did not like working with it. Was it okay? Like, would I work with it again? We're going to talk about that in a minute. But, um, it's okay. It made me slow down a lot when I was working with it because it is so splitty. It was like every single stitch that I was trying to accomplish, the yarn would split apart with the needle, and I had to slow down all of my stitching to be able to make sure that I didn't split the yarn. And there were many times where I would be working across and then I would have to tink back because the stitches got split, the yarn got split. And so I wasn't a fan of that. But it's beautiful yarn. The color is beautiful. Couple of things that I really liked. I loved the I-cord edging around the armhole and for the neck. But what I don't like about that I-cord edge is the join. I will say the first join that I had to do for it, I did at the neck, and it's just ugly. I don't know another way of putting it. The join, Veronika does a video. She's got a video that you can watch her do, and hers looks gorgeous. And I did it exactly as she did it on the video. and it just did not look right. Thankfully, it is back on the back of my neck, so you're not going to see it overall, but you can kind of see it here. It makes it kind of bumpy. There's this little nubby that's stuck out, and I don't know. It's just kind of ugly. And so after I did this first one, I was so upset with how it looked that I put this top in timeout for a week and a half. I was like, I can't even bring myself to finish it. And all I had left to do were the two armholes, to do the same I cord around the armholes. So after a week and a half, I picked it back up. And this time I was thinking, I've got to make sure that I'm doing this cleaner. It's got to look better. So I did it again. And this time it definitely looks better. It looks cleaner, but there's still a little nubby there. And you can definitely easily find where that join is. But it doesn't stick out as much, and it's going to be under my arm. So it'll be okay. It's not going to stick out, kind of like with the neck. It's going to be in the back. I'm not going to be seeing it. So that was fine. And then I did the second one. And on this one, it's an even cleaner edge. Still a little bump there, but not that bad. So I really, really like the way that this looks overall. So I blocked it. I wet blocked it. And what I was expecting with the wet blocking process, when I blocked the swatch, which I do have the swatch in here. Hold on. So when I blocked the swatch, I did it in the khaki color and I wet blocked it, and it grew. It grew both lengthwise, widthwise. It grew, not a significant amount, but it was enough growth in the yarn itself that I knew that I probably wouldn't have to go to specifically the length that I wanted in my actual top. I was thinking, if the swatch grew like it did, then the top is going to grow like it will, just like the swatch. So that was what I was thinking it was going to do. Yeah, I wet blocked this, and yes, it evened out some of the stitching, and it makes it look nicer and cleaner and all of those things like blocking does. But it didn't grow. It didn't grow. It didn't grow in width. It didn't grow in length. It didn't grow at all. It is exactly the same size. So that means that it's not the length that I would like it. So it's not even really the width that I'd like it. For me, for comfort reasons, I would like a little more ease in it. And I also am not a big fan of how the ribbing at the very bottom came out. I followed the pattern. I changed the size of the needles, and I did the number of rows. First thing, I feel like the number of rows on the ribbing is not enough. It is 6 rows of twisted rib. Does not look good. I also don't like that the ribbing is so kind of stretched out, and it almost has this flared look to it. Don't like it. Don't like it. So I figure I need to add another like 2 inches to the body, and I am going to go down 1, maybe even 2 more needle sizes, and I'm going to redo the ribbing, and I'm probably going to do like 12 rows of ribbing. So there's going to be some sweater surgery coming up, and top surgery, I guess, because it's not really a sweater. I am probably going to be ripping out the ribbing on this. I will put the black back on the needles. I think what I'm going to do is 2 more sections. I'll do 2 more black sections and 2 more of the khaki color sections. and then I'll do probably 12 rows of the ribbing, maybe 10, but probably 12, just to give it that length that I would like. The other thing, um, we were talking about this today at my meetup, and Grace, the owner, had made mention that with cotton yarn, it probably would be better to steam block it instead of wet blocking it. And I don't know if that's going to make a difference. So it's not going to hurt to try. So I think after I do my little top surgery on this, I am going to try to steam block it. And I'm going to see if that makes a difference. I'm also going to probably be a little more aggressive in it as I'm putting it into shape so that it can dry. I'm probably going to spend some more time really blocking it out and seeing if that will get it to the sizing that I'm wanting. And I think at this point, since I'm going to be adding more length to it, I think I'm probably going to be a little more aggressive on the width wise to get a little more ease through. Specifically what I'm needing more ease in is just right in this section right here, right in the upper abdomen. um I don't know, that just feels like I need more right there in that area. So we'll see what happens. But overall, when I'm talking about the look of the top, I do love it. I do really like the yarn and the way that it looks. Wasn't a big fan of working with it, but I will say when it came to this yarn, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't horrible. And I ended up, when it came down to it, I still have of the black this much, almost a full ball of that left. And then on top of that, I still have this much left of the khaki and a whole extra ball. And so I had a thought. I don't want this to go to waste. I know I'm going to be using probably the rest of this and a good amount more of this to fix this. I don't think I'm going to be breaking into this. So while I was at Craft Week today for the meetup, I decided I think I'm going to make a second top. I think I'm going to go one size up just so there's more flowiness so it's not as fitted. And I have the khaki color still for the contrast, but I picked up more of that same yarn. Like I said, not a big fan of the yarn, but it's not going to preclude me from using it. So I got it in maroon. So I am thinking main color maroon with the stripes and the khaki. And this is my school colors for school. So this would be something that I could wear to school under a cardigan because I won't wear a tank top by itself to school. I always have a cardigan on when I'm at school. It's a comfort thing and it covers up my arms from all the extra skin from my weight loss that I've had over the last 2 years. But I can make another tank top, another Sailor Swift. I'm going to do it in this maroon with the khaki that I have left over as my contrast. And so maybe for this one, maybe I can find a different tutorial on how to join together an I-cord border. I think that would be really, really good for the look of it if I can find a cleaner, better version. I've done Stephen West's shawls where it had an I-cord edging to it, and he has you join it up at the very end, and he has you like move some stitches, like turn them around the other direction and everything. But it's usually like 3 stitches. And I don't know. I don't know the mechanism behind it. So I just, when I get to that point, I think I'm going to have to, instead of using Veronika Lindberg's tutorial on how to put that part together, I think maybe I will try to find somebody else's tutorial. So if you're watching this and you have a tutorial that you would like to recommend that could help me make a cleaner I-cord join, I'm game. Please put it down in the comments because um, something's got to give on that I-cord border. It should be cleaner than what it is, and kind of annoying when it first happened. It almost derailed me in my quest to finish this. So on the knit along, I did see that there were only me and another participant that finished our top in the knit side of things. And the shop owner, Grace, she finished her top, which was the crochet version. I didn't see anybody else that was done with their top. Grace was working on a knit version of she was working on the Sailor Swift top. And then several of the other participants had said that they were having issues with the crocheted top, like the counts were off and things like that. And so they ended up quitting. And I did hear that somebody just kind of lost steam on the knit version and they didn't get theirs completed either. So just from the participants that were there today for our final day, I think there's only 3 of us that completed. We'll see though. We'll see if there's anybody else that ends up showing that they finished theirs. So that's my finished object, you guys, the Sailor Swift top. So let's talk about some works in progress. I have been working on 2 other items in the last month. And one of them I know for sure I have shown before, but I haven't done too much progress because it really hasn't been a focus piece for me. And that is the Ogee socks. I am working on these with double point needles, which are not my usual. I don't usually work with double point needles, but I've been gravitating lately more to double point needles for things that are in the round small circumference stuff. So for these, I've been working with double point needles. And so this is in Autumn and Indigo, and the colorway is called Heavenly Denise. And so I am still on the first sock, but I think I am almost done with the heel turn. I think I'm getting close to being finished with the heel turn. So these are the Ogee socks. You can tell it is very heavily ribbed, but when you wear it, you can tell what it looks like when it stretches out. It has this great architectural structure to these little faux cables in the middle. And I'm kind of excited to see what this looks like once it's done and on the foot. I do like the look of the heel. I don't know what it's called, but it, just like the rest of it, it has this very architectural look to it. I don't know. It's so intriguing to me. I kind of love it. I wanted a sock that was going to be wide enough to cover my ankles. I have very large ankles. Always have very large calves. And even with losing weight, still it's there. So I wanted something that was large enough for my ankles and my calf, but also would be close fitting and look right. And so I think this ribbed pattern is going to be perfect for that. It's going to make for some negative ease on my leg. And I don't know, I'm kind of here for it. So I'm really liking it. I have been working on this only really when my students are busy doing something and I'm actively monitoring. I'm walking around, and when I'm working on this, I don't have to really look at it. I'm at the point where I don't have to look at it. And so while they're working, I've got this in my little arm bag, and because I don't have to look at it, I'm just going while I'm actively monitoring the kids, and there hasn't been a whole lot of time that I could do that. I think I've been able to pull it out like 3 times in the month. So it's not like it's happening a lot, but um, it's been interesting. I do enjoy it. I probably will be working on it a little bit more coming up soon because, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we're in my busy season at work. We've got our big star test coming up this coming Thursday. And so once that's done, it's like we can all breathe a little bit. It gives us a little bit of a breather. And so, got 3 more days of massive reviews to work with my kids on. Then we got the big dance on Thursday. So, I'm getting there. I'm getting to the point where I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Let's just put it that way. All right, so let's move on to my last work in progress, which is in my bag that I showed you guys last video. And that is the book club cardigan. I have been working pretty steady on this. Even though I've been working steady on it, doesn't mean that I've gotten really far because this is a massive work. This is a lot of cables and a lot of chart reading, and it's kind of an odd situation with it all. You've got moss stitch, you've got cables, and you've got increases all happening at the same time with different charts. And at one point, I was looking at the pattern and going, there are 3 different things happening in this pattern that are all 3 on different pages of the pattern. And so I don't work on printing out patterns anymore. I used to print out my patterns for a long, long time, and I would make notes and things like that. And it just doesn't work for me. For a while, I was using Knit Companion, and I liked Knit Companion, don't get me wrong, but it was like 15, 16 bucks a year for subscription. And I didn't feel like Knit Companion did anything for me that I couldn't already do at the time that I was using it. So I started just using iBooks and just putting the PDF of my patterns on iBooks. And I use my iPad and my Apple Pencil, or my faux Apple Pencil. And I don't want to give away anything in the chart. Let me see if I can get something, if I can just show like a part of it. So this isn't going to give away much of anything because you don't know what the symbols mean and all that. So what I do is I will use my Apple Pencil and I'll highlight the row that I'm on. And then when I get done with that, I will go through and I'll use the erase and I'll erase that. And then I'll highlight the next row and then I can look at that. So usually that's fine. But the problem lies in having to do 3 different patterns on 3 different pages. So I was talking to my husband about it, and I said, this is the one place where Knit Companion would have been handy, because with Knit Companion, you can take like a symbol page and you can take a pattern and you can like put it into the bottom section, like in the notes section, and you can have that up while you have the chart. And then there's a highlighter that you can move around to where you're located. And now I kind of wish I did have Knit Companion, but I also don't want to do a subscription for Knit Companion for a year for the one pattern. So we're just toughing it out and flipping back and forth at this point. But So let's get to looking at the book club cardigan, which is from Sari Nordlund. Here's what it looks like right now. I have the complete upper back portion done. So you start with this like trapezoid kind of setup here. And so you've got the moss stitch in the middle, and you've got this braid right here. And then the star of the show is this crisscross braid here. And then you've got some moss stitch on the side. It is gorgeous. I absolutely just love the cable pattern. It's become a lot more intuitive as I've worked. It really has. I can read my moss stitch now. I know what I'm doing. So I finished the back upper portion, and then the next part you join in at the shoulder, and then you start working down the front portion here with the same cable patterns going downward. So I am almost done with this front panel here where these two are going to be, they're going to end up joining together from what I understand, eventually like right here. And that's going to make the armhole, I think. Don't quote me on that because I haven't really looked ahead. So once I get to that part, I'll put that on some of the barber cord, and then I will do the same thing over on this side right here. And then I'll be able to join it together, and then we'll be going back and forth, and it'll be awesome. So I am loving working on this, and I cannot wait for it to be done. This has been my main focus project. I absolutely love it. I am working with LionBrand Fisherman's Wool in the color Oatmeal. I've got all of my skeins, my extra skeins up there waiting for when I'm ready. And so I think probably the back trapezoid plus the two like shoulder areas is probably going to take one full skein because maybe less than a full skein of this because this is what I've got left after the trapezoid and pretty much one shoulder done. And this also included my gauge swatch. And so the gauge swatch is done in moss stitch to see, what it will do. And so I'm loving it. I am excited for the finished product. My hope is that I can get that full cardigan done by the end of the school year. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it's a great goal. So I'm excited about it. That is it on my works in progress. So I don't have any other acquisitions either, other than that maroon yarn. I showed everything else that I had gotten when we were at the Brazos Valley Fiber Fest. I showed all of that in the last episode that I filmed. So that's pretty much it on that. Life stuff. So what had happened was I am getting older. We've had some new medical stuff that has popped up that I'm going to have to take care of very soon. And it's all because I needed to go to the PCP to get a re-up on my referral for my endocrinologist to check up on my Hashimoto's thyroiditis. And so while I was there, every time I go to the PCP, I forget to talk about certain things that have been going on, like this little pain here, or I have a question about that. So the week leading up to going to my PCP, I was writing a list of stuff like, while I'm here, let me talk about this thing. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk to my PCP about was I had injured my ankle back in 2017. And I went to a podiatrist, and the podiatrist had me booted for 6 weeks, and it didn't help anything. It didn't get better. It's just kind of been a chronic, dull pain in the front part of my ankle since 2017. It just is what it is. And so I just kind of chalked it up to scar tissue, tendonitis, all of that. And, I've been living with it. In the last couple of weeks, I would say the last like 2 months, really, that pain has gotten a little bit worse, but I also had a new pain joining in. So it was, if this is my ankle like this, the normal pain was like right here in the front part of the ankle, right in front of the leg. Well, this new pain was sharper and it was over along the side on the bony part of my ankle on the inside, and it was sharp. And so I told my PCP about this, and I said, I don't know what's going on. I don't know if like tendonitis is getting worse. I don't know if there's something else going on, but it's worse. So she sent me to an orthopedist. She said, it might be that you have like scar tissue in there and, they can help address whatever's going on. So 2 weeks ago, I went and saw the orthopedist and they took x-rays. And the doctor came in and immediately said, well, it looks like I can tell you what is causing the pain, but I can't tell you what mechanism has caused it. And it's going to take an MRI to figure that out. I was like, okay, so what's causing the pain? And so she pulls up the x-rays, and I'll kind of cut in a little picture of what she pointed out to me here. So apparently I've pulled off a portion of the bone. A little portion of the bone has just been popped right off. It's not big, but it's enough to cause some pain. And so what she said is she doesn't know if it's the tendon that has popped off the piece of the bone. She doesn't know if it's the ligament that has popped off a piece of the bone, or if there's damage to the cartilage and the cartilage has popped it off. But all roads lead to surgery, is what I'm being told. She is more of the mind of that it's the ligament. That's really what she thinks it is. She thinks that the, oh gosh, which ligament? I think she said it's the deltoid ligament. She thinks that has popped off the little piece. She also said, and there's a second circle on this image that's higher up, that part, she said that it looks like there's like scar tissue right there and that there's a previous injury. And so that might be causing that dull pain. So I've got to get an MRI so we can figure out which surgery is going to happen. It just depends on how severe the surgery is going to be. And so, yeah, that'll be happening hopefully over the summer. The goal is to keep surgery at bay until the summertime. I don't want to have to take off work if I don't have to. And so in the meantime, the only thing that seems to help with the pain is to have it braced. So I have a lovely high ankle brace that velcros across the top, and it kind of keeps everything in check. But because of how bulky and how much like metal pieces there are that are keeping everything stable, my foot doesn't fit in most of my shoes. Pretty much all of my shoes. The only thing that it fits in right now are Crocs. That's open. And to not have irritation, I have to wear socks underneath the brace. And the socks have to be tall enough over my ankle. So I'm literally down to like 6 pairs of socks that I can wear, I think, and 1 pair of shoes. So it is what it is. At least it helps. For the most part, most of the pain is gone when I wear the brace. as long as I don't overdo it and I stay off my foot as much as possible. So it just means more knitting time, right? I'm sitting, I'm knitting. It's okay. I am not worried about the surgery, the actual surgery itself. I have had so many surgeries that that doesn't cause me any anxiety. I'm more upset that this means that my vacation that I've been planning with my husband's family, we've been planning it for like a month now. There's just no way. There's no way that I can be healing from surgery or having surgery or doing all those things and go on vacation, especially when the vacation meant that we were going to be doing a lot of walking. So I'm upset about that. But it needs to be handled. It is what it is, and I'll get over it. So I guess I'll just put all that disappointment into my knitting. So there we go, guys. That is my update for the end of March and the first part of April. Hopefully, I will be back at the beginning of May and I will update everyone a little bit more on my progress and we'll see, what's going on with the surgical implications of it all, shirt and ankle. And we'll see what else I get up to. Maybe I'll be close to being done with my book club cardigan. So until next time, bye.